Chairman, Board of Directors of the Barbados Accreditation Council, and Lady Hewitt, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Mrs. Janice Phillips, Chair, Campus Council, the UWI Cayfield Campus, Sir Paul Altman, Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Eugene Barreto, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Alan Cobley, Deputy Principal, Professor Clive Landis, Campus Registrar, Mr. Kenneth Walters, Campus Bursar, Ms. Lisa Allen, Deans and Heads of Departments, President, Guild of Students, Ms. Thatcher Lutin, other staff members of the Barbados Accreditation Council, members of the UWI Cayfield Campus community, members of the media, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And welcome
Thank you.
to this important occasion in which we celebrate the granting of institutional accreditation to UWI Cayfield Campus by the Barbados Accreditation Council and the presentation of that certificate to the campus. I must state that this campus was accredited in June 2013 and today marks a milestone in its continuing journey towards being a quality tertiary education provider in Barbados and beyond. For us at the Council, it has indeed been an immense pleasure working with the leadership, management, and staff of the campus over the past 10 years, as this institution first indicated its intention to seek institutional accreditation in 2010. We at the Council can certainly speak of the high level of commitment, enthusiasm, and professionalism shown by the leadership, management, and staff as we engage in discussions to ensure a well-coordinated accreditation visit by the team of evaluators and ultimately towards a successful outcome of the entire accreditation exercise for the campus. A major requirement of the accreditation process is that the tertiary educational provider must submit a self-evaluated report, which is essentially a critical analysis of the provider using the Council's institutional accreditation standards. Not daunted by this requirement, the Cayfield campus approached this exercise with much enthusiasm and expectation that it will allow that institution to critically explore what it is that we do. How well are we doing it? What do we have? How well does it work? What can we do to improve it? The Council is confident that the Cayfield campus came out of this intensive self-evaluation exercise as a renewed and re-energized institution. The organization of the evaluation site visit is a collaborative approach between the Council and the provider. More importantly, the team of evaluators seek to verify whether the institution meets the specified standards, notwithstanding the submission of a self-evaluation report. Through scheduled meetings with key stakeholders that included the governance and management, faculty and staff, students and graduates, site visits to ascertain the conditions for teaching and learning, and even unplanned interactions, for example, with students and staff, the members can obtain a true picture of the status of the tertiary education provider. The evaluation visit can therefore be quite daunting for a tertiary educational provider, as it must be able to speak confidently and truthfully about its strengths, areas for improvement, and strategies for overcoming the challenges, if any. Based on interviews held with the team, the Council was pleased to observe that the campus was fully prepared for the rigor that may be expected from such an exercise. In closing, I would like to acknowledge the contribution of all staff members of the Barbados Accreditation Council to the attainment of this successful achievement, and yet a milestone in our short history of 13 years of operation. Particularly, I would like to thank Mrs. Sharon Aline, the assigned Quality Assurance Officer, to my left, who was assigned to the Cayfield campus. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the newly appointed Chairman of the Barbados Accreditation Council, Lady Hewitt, who will deliver the brief remarks. Just a brief profile on Lady Hewitt. Barbadian by birth, married to Sir Kenneth Hewitt, 57 years, a mother of 3 adults and a grandmother of 6. She's educated at the George Williams University, now Concordia. She has a diploma in education from the University of the West Indies, and she's done some other professional training, management training as well. Professionally, she was a teacher at Queen's College, a tutor at the Barbados Community College, and she was very much in the human resource management field, being the training manager at the Barbados Shipping and Trading, as well as the director of human resources. She's formerly the chairman of the Urduson Teachers Training College and the Barbados Vocational Training Board. And her other interests includes sewing, spiritual formation, and charity. Let us welcome the UWI to the podium to deliver the brief remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Before I left home, I had said I would say protocol having been established, but with this illustrious gathering, I want to go through all of the names. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Mrs. Janet Phillips. Chair, Campus Council, UWI Caveville Campus, Sir Paul Altman. Pro Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Udine Barito. Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Alan Cobley. Deputy Principal, Professor Clive Landis. Campus Registrar, Mr. Kenneth Walters. Campus Bursar, Miss Lisa Aline. Deans and Heads of Department, President Guild of Students, Ms. Thatcher Luton. Other staff members of the Barbados Accreditation Council, members of the UWI Cave Campus community, members of the media, good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
It is a privilege and pleasure for me to participate in any function which pays tribute to the University of the West Indies. UWI, as we all fondly call it, is one of the Caribbean's most significant and vibrant institutions. Over its 70-year-long history, from its genesis in 1948 as a college of the University of London to its attainment of full university status in 1962, and its steady growth to 2019 as an independent academic institution, the University of the West Indies has been a bright beacon for the English-speaking people of the Caribbean. Separated by the waters of the Caribbean Sea, our island countries are held together by our history, our music, our cricket, and our University of the West Indies. During my perusal of the accreditation report, I was struck by the fact that our UWI shares with the University of the South Pacific the distinction of being listed in a field of 2,500 institutions as one of only 2 multinational regional universities in the world. Our rating actually places us in the top 5%.
Yep.
The University of the West Indies Caveville campus was initially accredited by the Barbados Accreditation Council in June 2013 for 6 years to June 2019. Its mandatory mid-cycle review took place from March 30 and 31, 2017. Based on the team's reviews and recommendations, the Board of Directors approved the continued accreditation of the Caveville campus for the remainder of the accreditation cycle to June 2019. The Caveville campus commenced its journey towards reaccreditation in 2018. Again, the Executive Director and the assigned Quality Assurance Officer, Mrs. Sharon Aline, met with senior management and members of the accreditation team to discuss the steps to be taken and actions required, which included the submission of a self-evaluative report, or SER, by the campus. Continued technical and administrative support was provided by the Council to ensure a successful accreditation outcome. The reaccreditation evaluation was undertaken during the period March 18 to 22, 2019, at the campus locations in Barbados. Again, the evaluation team comprised competent regional and international evaluators who met with key stakeholders that included governance and management, faculty and staff, students and graduates, employees' representatives. Today's event marks the end of that entire reaccreditation journey. My task this afternoon has been made remarkably easy. All the hard work has already been done. It remains for me, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Accreditation Council, to say a public thank you to our Executive Director, Ms. Valda Aline, and the members of her staff who work directly on this accreditation project. Thank you also to every other member of her staff whose contribution in some way made today's celebration possible. To the regional and international evaluation team, I say thank you very much for your valuable contribution and vital endorsement. Heartfelt congratulations to the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus as you continue to live that initial mandate to unlock West Indian potential for economic and cultural growth by high-quality teaching and research. Long may you continue to provide the quality of education which earns international respect and evokes regional pride. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Hewitt, for the encouraging remarks, and of course, to be pleased to learn that the Cave Hill campus, UWI Cave Hill campus, has been granted 7 years, full maximum that you can get. This is one time that maximum is a pleasant term, the maximum amount that in terms of accreditation period. So the accreditation period goes from June 2019 to 2026.
Oh, wow. Give to my successor.
So it's at this time that we have the pleasure of the presentation of the certificate by the chairman to the Professor Barito.
First of all, thank you very much on behalf of the entire Cave Hill, UWI Cave Hill campus community. This is a very satisfying feeling. Chair and Executive Director, the Barbados Accreditation Council, Ms. Valda Aline. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, our very good colleague, Mrs. Janet Phillips. Chairman of the Barbados Accreditation Council, and Lady Hewitt. Chair of our campus council, of the UWI Cave Hill campus, Sir Paul Altman. Pro Vice Chancellor of the Board for Undergraduate Studies, Professor Alan Cobley, welcome home. Deputy Principal of the Cave Hill campus, Professor Clive Landis, and very soon, the Pro Vice Chancellor of the Board for Undergraduate Studies, Professor Clive Landis. Let's welcome him. Campus Registrar, Mr. Kenneth Walters. Campus Bursar, Ms. Lisa Aline. Incoming Director of the School for Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Mabana. All deans, please give him a welcome. He's the designate. All deans and all heads of departments. President of the Barbados Workers Union Division at the Cave Hill campus, Mr. Jeffrey Mapp. Incoming new president, already the president of the Guild of Students, and how wonderful to welcome our first woman president in a long while, Ms. Thatcher Lutin. Looking forward to working with you. And I see Professor O'Callaghan clapping because she's from the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Other members of the Accreditation Council, especially Mrs. Sharon Aline, who works so hard with us. All the hardworking members of the UWI Cave Hill campus. I see you around the room and I can't call all your names, but good afternoon. And again, all members of the accreditation team, but especially at the Cave Hill campus, and colleagues both from the Accreditation Council and the Cave Hill campus, please join me in thanking Dr. Janice Badnock, Mrs. Gail Hall, and Mrs. Deborah Dean. They worked exceptionally hard, along with all of you, but they had the responsibility of creating that 438-page document this self-study, the accreditation report. And I'll just hold it up because it is really a really outstanding study, even if we say so ourselves. And we are going to, the Barbados Accreditation Council know that we were very honest in this document. We addressed our strengths and we addressed our weaknesses. And we would like to give copies to members of the media. I hope I don't live to regret it. But we just want we believe in transparency, and it is an excellent record of the Cavell campus. So we want you to have a copy of it. All members of the media, good afternoon and welcome. As you have heard from the chair of the Accreditation Council and the executive director, the Cavell campus, and in fact the Cavell campus and the UWI Open campus, both of our campuses were the first higher education institutions in Barbados in 2013 to receive accreditation from the Barbados Accreditation Council. So we started the ball rolling, and we both returned together in 2019. Now, as you know, accreditation is the process through which a program of study or an institution is assessed for its standard and then given official recognition. The Cavell campus was having an assessment done after what we would call in Grenada a long guava season, hard times. We had gone through, after the last accreditation exercise, we had gone through a 40% drop in student enrollment, mounting government debt, and having to keep the campus together under some trying circumstances, and to work with the faculty leadership as represented by the deans and the senior leadership to keep the campus afloat, having to take some hard decisions that we couldn't do capital upgrades, we couldn't do basic infrastructural repairs, but we would emphasize quality and we would emphasize student-centeredness. And I want to thank the members of the Campus Quality Assurance Team. We call them the Campus Quality Assurance Team, but they're really under the Office of the Board for Undergraduate Studies, and they maintain that impartiality, but they worked very hard with us to ensure, along with other divisions, that there was an emphasis on quality. An institutional accreditation, in fact, emphasizes quality. So it is the evaluation of an entire institution through the standards set by the Accreditation Council. And the accreditation process is intended to strengthen and sustain the quality and integrity of educational provisions, making it worthy of public confidence. And my staff here would hear me say all the time, we don't have money, but we have our reputation, and we have to guard it as gold, because that is what we bring to both the local, regional, and international agenda. So we take our reputation very seriously. And this is why I'm confident that I could give to members of the press the self-study report and not be afraid, because we don't have anything to hide. We are into transparency and we are into quality. Now, there are many advantages to institutional accreditation. Ms. Luton, you'll be happy to know that the first beneficiaries are our students. Accreditation highlights the capabilities and competencies of the institution, assures recognition of qualifications and transferability locally, regionally, and internationally of the certificates and degrees and what all courses that our students do. So it's almost that international accreditation or institutional accreditation is like currency for your degree. It is easily exchangeable and transferable. You can travel with it. When you're institutionally accredited, they can go and look it up and see this is a degree from an accepted institution. So the first beneficiaries are our students, then the institution, because accreditation provides national, regional, and international recognition of quality, accountability, and public trust. It verifies the quality of the educational provision to potential students, businesses, and governments, and highlights strengths and capabilities of the institution. The process, as you can see here this afternoon, is led by the Barbados Accreditation Council. Even this ceremony is theirs. I am a guest at the ceremony, and so are you. And it is just like when the institutional accreditation team comes, they pick the team. And when the team comes to the campus belongs to them for that week. And the team it was about 4 or 5 international partners, 1 local counterpart. And they have the run of the campus. They speak first with the vice chancellor and the principal, the chair of the campus council. Then they go on to the deputy principal and go through senior management. But when they're speaking to the staff and the students, we are not in the room, and persons are free to tell them whatever they feel like. I remember at the end, when they were presenting the closing report to us, I said to the team, I felt like someone was writing an exam for me all week long, and I am now going to get the results. Because they interviewed the campus, but then they were going to say to me what they had found. And happily, we see the outcomes of what they had found this afternoon. And of course, the third main beneficiary, institutional accreditation benefits our host nation, Barbados, and the region which we serve. It assures that a highly skilled workforce is provided, which should enhance the international competitiveness, increases the global competitiveness of local institutions, and provide assurances to Barbadian and regional taxpayers of the quality of the educational provision. Barbados has always taken its reputation for education very seriously, and to have the Cavell campus domiciled, not only serving Barbados, serving the region, but to have the Cavell campus domiciled here and to get the highest level of accreditation substantiates the reputation for Barbados Permanent Secretary for excellence in higher education. So we are very pleased to be part of that and to enhance that reputation in that regard. Now, as you heard, for the accreditation team, as I alluded to earlier, was led by all quality assurance expert, but by a Mr. John Randall, and he was the former chief executive of the Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education in the United Kingdom. And they evaluated us on 5 standards. Again, the Barbados Accreditation standards, not ours, the standards of the Barbados Accreditation Council. The first one was mission and objectives. And as I call them, I will call the chair. And at the end, I want you to join me in thanking those chairs for the excellent work that they did, because the work that they did became chapters in the study. So the chair, the first standard was mission and objectives. And that working group was chaired by Dr. David Berry, Dean of the Faculty of Law. The second standard was governance and administration, and that working group was chaired by then acting registrar, currently HR director, Mr. Ramel Carter. Teaching and learning, what a perfect fit, was chaired by our outgoing deputy principal, Professor Clive Landis, because it will serve him well when he sits in the chair as pro-vice chancellor for BUS. And readiness for change was chaired by Dr. Justin Robinson, Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, who has asked to be excused because he's a director on the board for the Central Bank of Barbados, and there is a meeting going on. But they also did an excellent job. And the working group on quality enhancement was chaired by Dr. Cora Belgrave, who was then the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Now, as the premier research institution and higher education institution in the Caribbean, I should tell you that very impartially, I have always believed that from the time I was a student here. So I was very pleased when the Times Higher Education Survey finally agreed with me that the UWI was the #1 in the region, because I believe it in my bones. But as the premier higher education institution, we also wanted and we decided we needed to add a 6th standard. So even though these 5 standards that I just mentioned were in fact the standards of the Barbados Accreditation Council, we told them that we wanted to be evaluated on graduate studies, research, and innovation. And they agreed, and we added that standard, which was also in existence at the St. Augustine campus. But since we feel, we are just like all our sister campuses, and we take our graduate studies very seriously, Professor Mabana, very, very seriously, and we know we will work well together on that. So we added a 6th standard, graduate studies, research, and innovation, and that working group was initially chaired by Professor Eddie Ventos, his justice, his lordship, he's now a judge on the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. And we thank Professor Ventos for the work he did, and we also thank Professor Winston Moore, the current Director of Graduate Studies and Research and the incoming Deputy Principal of the Caveville campus, for chairing that group. So as both Lady Hewitt and the chair of the executive director alluded, we had to produce this self-study report, and we took it very seriously. And in the production of that report, we provided a widespread, in-depth review of the campus. Evaluators noted that the campus had undertaken an extensive self-evaluation. I had been through the process before because I was the chair in 2012, 2013, the position currently, just vacated by Dr. Badnock, who I think thought she had a baptism of fire, but came through it, come through the fire like Daniel. Dr. Badnock, excellent job. And in that work, when you do it, you go into like, Lord, take this from me. But when they were tired, I would tell them, Mrs. Hall and I, we were there before. You're going to get it done. You're going to come out on the other side. And trust me, if you find warts, speak to the warts, because the whole idea is that we will identify the areas for improvement. And I want to say to the Caveville colleagues, it was a trying time. It still continues to be a trying time. But the leadership of the Caveville campus is working very hard to improve on the campus. And for all the deans and heads of department, hello, you are part of the leadership. And your picture is inside this document because you run faculties and departments, and together we have to work to make this better. Here are just some of the highlights. I mean, I could give you more, but I'll just give you a few of what the review team commended, not the Accreditation Council, the team led by Mr. Randall, what they commended the Caveville campus for. And this is after everyone told them what was right, what was wrong, what they liked, what they didn't like. They had the freedom to do that. And the team still concluded and commended the campus for the exemplary work of the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning under the current leadership of Dr. Sylvia Henry. The strong and reflective culture of teaching and learning that characterizes the campus. This campus's strong engagement with the community it serves, and we take that very, very seriously. We take Caveville in the community very seriously, applying the research and the knowledge that we hold in here to the Barbadian and the wider regional community. We never insist that everyone engaged in research has to have that research applied. But to the extent that the research we produce is valuable, we would like that research shared. And we do share that research. And they also commended the positive view taken by staff at all levels. Overall, the students also gave us very fair assessment, very fair commendation, and also identified what challenges they wanted addressed. Overall, the campus is very pleased to note that the review team concluded, and I'm going to quote that now, determined leadership and supportive staff ensured the campus survived the drop in enrollment and income resulting from the period when the government of Barbados no longer paid tuition fees. The campus is diversifying its sources of income and planning confidently for the future. The culture of professionalism and reflective practice in teaching and learning is exemplary and serves the students of the campus well. On behalf of the Cavell campus, I wish to thank the Barbados Accreditation Council, led by Ms. Valda Aline, ably assisted by our own quality assurance officer, calling her that, assigned to us by Ms. Sharon Aline, for the continued support and guidance which began with the registration process in 2008 and continued through the initial institutional accreditation process in 2012-2013 and the mid-cycle review of 2017 and reaccreditation in 2018-2019. We are delighted that we got a 7-year accreditation period. And to my successor, because I definitely will not be here in 7 years' time, I am delighted to gift you, whoever you are, that period of 7 years. So until 2025, you don't have to appoint a team to begin that process that will result in your reaccreditation for a maximum of another 7 years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Barito. That was certainly an inspirational message, and we look forward to, the Barbados Accreditation Council looks forward to working again with the University of West Indies Cavell campus, and I certainly won't be around in 2026 as head of the council. I would like at this time to invite Sir Paul Altman, Chair of the Campus Council, to deliver remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This time I am going to say protocol having been established, if I may, if I can get away with that. The program, in effect, says the list of people who are going to make remarks, and of course, coming at the end, I can only repeat a lot of what was said, but there is one observation, and that is that under my name it says remarks, and under the Professor Barito it says brief remarks. And I would ask that this be reprinted for filing, because indeed mine are extremely brief. But it is a serious occasion. It is one that we are all very proud of. It's one that, as I look around the room and see all present, I know how much work has gone into achieving this certificate of institutional accreditation. And, you know, I go beyond looking at the people who are sitting here that are actually here physically, but I look at the people who are looking on from the wonderful paintings of those who have guided this institution and continue to guide it. And I imagine that, that this type of accreditation and this ability to achieve it is something that not only we are proud of, but those who were before us and are still with us would join in sharing in this wonderful feeling of pride. But it didn't happen easily, as you can see. I think that the report that speaks for itself, I hadn't seen the report before. I was present at the part of the process, the review process. So I did get to meet the team, and I did participate and had to answer questions for that team, and witnessed the effort that was put into it by all present, all of the deans and the faculty. And I didn't, of course, we were not part of the student review process, but thankfully it all turned out as it had to, and that we are here today to celebrate. And this is a celebration indeed in every respect. So I would like to put on record my thanks to the team, the review team from overseas, led by Mr. John Randall. I would like to recognize the Cave Hill representative, Dr. Janice Badnock. I have already talked about the people from the institution itself, but this evening we would like to also recognize and thank the Barbados Accreditation Council, of course, Margot Ann Lady Hewitt, who is now chairman of the Accreditation Council, who I've known for many years and have the greatest respect for. I'm proud to be here and to be sharing this occasion with you. And of course, Valda Aline, who is the executive director, and thank you for all that you did to allow this to happen. It's good that I know the principal keeps referring to 7 years. Well, 7 years go by in a hurry, so maybe you will be here. And maybe you will have to be a part of the next review in some way. Maybe not, not taking the full strain, but some part of it. So yes, we have taken it seriously. We have achieved it, and we are sharing in the success. The campus has gotten other recognitions, as was said here this afternoon. The fact that we are listed as in the top 5% of universities globally, and our achievements, may they continue for 7 years and beyond, in periods of 7 years at a time. Thank you all for being a part of this, and I look forward to sharing in more successes of this university. Thank you.
We've come to the end of the program, not the celebration, but we've come to the end of the program. And while there's no vote of thanks, we want to thank all of you for being here. And the council, yes, we are here with you to celebrate. And having achieved 7 years, it means, of course, that we know the Cave Hill campus will not sit on its laurels, continue towards a journey of excellence. And just a gentle reminder that there'll be a mid-cycle review, and that is just to, it's not going to be it will be a mid-cycle to ensure, and I'm sure you're going to maintain the standards. So it'll be a smaller team, as the last time, probably 2 persons, including the chair, and once we're able to get back to the same chairperson. But a smaller team, and it's basically to ensure that you maintain the standards. And the interim, you'll be submitting an annual report, just as some gentle reminders. But I do know that they will not be the long process that you'd have been through. But what is certainly clear in being granted 7 years is that it says that the UWI as a whole, its internal quality management system is quite robust, okay, as a whole. All right? So we anticipate that you will continue to maintain that, and of course the comments from the team, you'd have heard that in the principal's report. So we are happy to be here, and of course you'll keep on celebrating, of course, marketing and ensuring that it reaches globally, that you have institutional accreditation. Right. Okay. We look forward to you supporting the work of the Barbados Accreditation Council and the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill. Thank you.